Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. Sean Woodland, Tommy Marquez, and Lauren Khalil, all in different locations. Lauren is still in an undisclosed location. Where are you? Are you in a bunker?
It looks like I'm in a bathroom, but I am in the bathroom, not on the toilet. I can't even lie about that. So I'm still in London, and because I'm in the city, they make the hotels very small. And for whatever reason, there's no light in the bedroom. There's just like this blue like rave light.
Well, as a consolation, you can just open up the window and let in all the gray.
So I could. You're right. You're right. Oh, I was so sad. I was supposed to go on a Harry Potter like walking tour today, but it was pouring. So I'm hoping tomorrow before my flight, I'll have some time to do that.
Okay. Well, best of luck with that.
I've been to the platform.
Oh, I have to do that before I get on the plane. I will not leave this area until I get there.
We have a lot to talk about today. We had a very busy competition weekend. We want to recap that. And we get some first-hand perspective from FitFest because Lauren was there doing a great job with their social media. Really enjoyed the interviews and the stuff that they were putting out. Tommy is now into Victory Tuesday. I'm into the next week Tuesday with still some hope alive. So
you were into moral Victory Tuesday.
Yeah, that's they took one of the best.
Yep.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, so everyone had a good weekend. I know Lauren got to travel. I got to go. I saw a concert on Friday night, which was a lot of fun. Saw Me First in the Gimme Gimmes. First time I've seen them live. That was fantastic.
Ooh, good for you.
Them out there. Just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. All right, you're gonna go and you're gonna get your money's worth, and you can hear some regular songs turned into punk covers. It was like you've never heard Somewhere Over the Rainbow until you've heard the punk version of it.
Ooh,
really
good stuff.
I'm gonna YouTube that later.
It's fantastic. Let's start with who our sponsor is today, and that is Thirdzy. And I cannot tell you enough how big of a game changer Thirdzy has been for me. I mean, I get up now a lot earlier than I used to. I'm able to work out some mornings. I go to the 5 a.m. CrossFit class on Friday. I'm getting much better sleep because of Thirdzy. It's a collagen-based drink powder that helps with joint and connective tissue repair, has other ingredients like magnesium, L-theanine, and GABA. It helps calm your central nervous system and supports deep and REM sleep. And it tastes great.
Oh, good.
I look forward to drinking this stuff at night. It is absolutely fantastic. And the crew at Thirdzy, they're wonderful people. Please support them. If you're looking to up your sleep game, go get their PM their PM recovery collagen, and then use our code TEF to get 20% off. And it's not habit forming. There's no melatonin in it. And I'm telling you, when we were talking to them, we got introduced to Thirdzy, I told them that my superpower was I don't sleep. And now I sleep so much better because of this stuff. It will always be in my house, and I'm panicking because I'm low on it, and I ordered it, and I'm hoping that it gets here soon, or else I don't know, what I'm going to do. But it's thirdzy.com, THIRDZY.com. If you're watching this, scan the QR code in the corner of the screen. It'll take you right to the site. Use the code TEF, and you will save 20%, and you absolutely will sleep better. Just money well spent. Fantastic.
You traveling across the pond, take a scoop of Thirdzy.
Man.
Out like a light, baby.
It's
one of those travel packs.
Amazing.
I go to sleep a lot more quickly. I don't wake up as much, and I woke up. Usually, I wake up well before my alarm. The other morning, at 5 o'clock, my alarm went off. I was like, I did that number. Okay, I gotta go to bed. That's how dead deep sleep I was in. So thank you.
We're in the holiday party realm, and if you're like me, it's hard for me to wind down after a good soiree, and let's just say me and the missus slept a full 12 hours from Saturday to Sunday.
Wow!
Since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Dang,
12 hours.
Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Must be nice not having any responsibilities, kids or dogs or anything like that. Geez, just wait, that's going to change. You're going to be
enjoying it while we can.
Exactly. Bank that stuff now. 12 hours.
Yep.
That's more than me, Tommy. I'm
Goodness
impressed.
gracious.
Okay,
Yeah.
Brooke Wells.
All right. Let's get into competition because we had 3 this past weekend. We had Dubai Fitnes Championship, we had Legends Championship, and we had FitFest. Now, only one of those had a stream, and that was Dubai, so that's where we'll start. And there's already some confusion, should I say, because if you go to their Instagram page, Dubai's Instagram page, they have a podium shot. It has Ricky in second, Roman in first, and Lazar in third. But then when you go to the leaderboard, which has been updated, they got Roman finishing first, Lazar finishing in second, and Ricky finishing in third. So that has changed. I don't know which one is official, but I usually just go by the leaderboard. So that's where we are right now.
I mean, I do know that the athletes have been paid and most of them have left the location. So I would imagine that the Instagram post is accurate, but we will have Lazar on the show later this week. So that might be something fun to talk to him about, or maybe not fun if it shows him in second here, but he truly got third.
Yeah. Well, the same thing flip-flopped, the second and third place flip-flopped on the leaderboard currently for the women as well, between Andrea Solberg and Claudia Gluck. But I mean, I guess if they've all been paid out, you take if you're now in third place, you take the money and run, do your best Steve Miller-Brand impression, and then if you're now in second place, maybe send a message over me like, yo, what gives? I'm higher on the leaderboard now, but it looks like they switched from from a more traditional points table to a points per placing type format, which is interesting and a little confusing, obviously to go the entirety of the competition. It could be just an oversight or an error on from someone hitting the wrong input, but
but it's just,
at least that's what you hope.
The leaderboard and the Instagram announcement were in alignment, I think, for most of the weekend. And then just today, as we record this, the leaderboard has changed. Just something to keep an eye on. Maybe they get it straightened out. But regardless, Roman Krennikov had a pretty dominant run. I don't think he finished outside the top 6 or top 8. Only finished 8th. I think that was his worst finish. Let me see where he was in the final. But where was he? Second. So yeah, dominant performance for Roman Krennikov. Ricky Garrard had a great comeback. He finished 25th.
The most unbelievable comeback.
That was crazy. And then goes 6th, 9th, 7th, 3rd, and then back-to-back wins. Or 7th, 3rd, 2nd, 1-1. Yeah, so he was nails there late in the competition.
So apparently Ricky got hung up on one of the portions of the obstacle course, and it just took him forever. And the rest of the obstacle course was fine, but it was just one of the little sections. And that is really what cost him almost finishing last on that event one.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not insignificant that both the second place finishers for men and women finished the competition in identical fashion. Both Ricky and Andrea had a couple tough finishes between the both of them, and then both finished 3-2-1-1 to close out the weekend. So two athletes that kind of caught fire towards the end and were, the best two athletes, at least points wise, over the final day and a half or so.
Yeah, and shout out to the people who put on the stream. It looked pretty good. We had a good friend Derek Forrest and Brian Friend calling the action. They did a great job. I was able to watch some of it, but it was enjoyable, and they got good numbers on the stream too. Like I know they were taking some flack for not having a lot of people in the stands, but they had great numbers, really good numbers when it comes to people who are watching online. So just wanted to give a shout out to those guys for a job well done. But Tommy, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, here's just kind of somewhat of an explanation. Like Dubai has always been like that. It has not been necessarily a spectator-centric event in terms of the numbers that they pull on a consistent basis, right? There are certain points on certain days they'll have like a decent crowd there. And usually the camera doesn't, at least when the 3 or so years that I was there, the camera didn't always focus on the area of the stadium at the Dubai Duty Free Tennis Stadium.
Mhm.
There's one area where everyone tends to congregate, and the camera doesn't always show that, and it's covered
Okay.
too. But one of the things that's interesting about Dubai is in the past, and I say in the UAE as well, just talking with some of the crew over there in the last, I don't know, decade or so, there's been a really heavy sports push, and athletics push there. And as a result, almost every weekend, and it feels like almost every day, there's some sort of event going on, whether it's a world golf tour event, or F1, or one of the lower divisions in racing, or camel racing, which is popular, or falconry, which is popular, and all these events are constantly coming through there because it's a big money market now. So there is a very laissez-faire type approach to going to an event that might sell a ton of tickets, but people will be like, "Oh, I'll show up for an event here or there, and then I'm gonna go to the Dubai Mall where there's another event going on." So it's almost like a courtside seat. It's almost like Lakers tickets,
Yeah.
where it's
Mm.
like it's kind of like an event where you show up for a little while and you're not necessarily like getting there for warm-ups and staying through to the end like the diehards are. It's a little bit different approach because there's so much going on that weekend, and it's one of many and that has been the case in the past too.
Right. Yeah, I think the most sorry, I just got a text message. The most encouraging thing, like I said, are the streaming numbers. Like I think that when you look at the viability of a competition, to be able to provide high level coverage like that, if they're not getting the views online to do that, that becomes a lot more difficult because it becomes very hard to get sponsors to pony up the amount of cash that you need to do that. So,
Well, and what's nice for them, I don't know if this is still the case, is they're usually able to leverage some of um, the the connections that they have within the organization and their ties to the royal family, and
Mm.
some of the news stations and media production companies that they have over there, where it may not cost them as much if they use people locally, at least for some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
yeah, but I also think it's just proof of concept that if you put together a really good event with a solid stream and you have some big name athletes, you can get decent numbers. And the other thing too is that the times here in the United States were not ideal to watch. I mean, they're better
Yeah.
in the East Coast, but on the West Coast, and you still got
Yeah.
very, very good numbers. So good on them. I'm encouraged by that. Do we have a biggest winner, biggest surprise from this competition, men or women, for either one of you?
Mm.
I'd probably say Karin Frey.
Biggest winner?
Um,
Backing up
she
for win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she typically she's done well here. I mean, this is her third time finishing fourth or better. She won
Can you
last
pull
year.
up the leaderboard again? I'm sorry.
Sure. One sec.
Yeah, it's back-to-back wins here for her. But even as far back, you remember 2018 going into the 2019 season, she was in a three-way. She was in a win and year end scenario for that year at the very first sanctional. It was between her, Jamie Green, Sam Briggs, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir. All of them were essentially tied atop the leaderboard. So this has been a place where she feels comfortable competing and has done really well at. And this is now a third of competition win this calendar year.
Mhm.
She won Madrid. She also won the French Throwdown. So, I know that maybe people are still, I don't know if people, but I say just in general, like looking at the progression of her as an athlete, looking for that next level jump at the games and how it hasn't quite happened yet. She's
Yeah.
gotten close. I think 14 this year was a really strong, almost there type performance, but continuing to build competition experience and not just experience, but like winning experience
Yeah.
at a high level against some good athletes. I think always is a good thing to have in your bag of tricks.
Lauren, biggest winner, biggest surprise?
Yeah, full transparency, I didn't watch any of the Dubai
You
Fitness
were
Champions
kind of
stream
tied up with, yeah.
as I was at FitFest, but I think it's just promising seeing names like Mignon Agonis, who's been in the game for a while, still staying consistent and towards the top of the leaderboard and able to finish just outside of the podium. I think she's been there the past at least 2, maybe 3 years at Dubai. And is always kind of in contention for that podium. But yeah, just seeing the similar names up at the top, contenders that we expect. Cool to see.
Yeah.
Other names that don't compete as much in the US as well, I think is good for the sport to give some shout outs to some of these athletes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Claudia Gluck deserves some too. I mean,
Yeah.
second place finish. I know, Tommy,
Same
you
with
mentioned
Solberg.
Same with Solberg. Yeah, we haven't. I think we
Yeah.
saw her back in the Filthy 150 back in 2019. That's because she, I think, by virtue of finishing maybe 5th or 6th, wound up getting the invite that year in the sanctioned event. But that's the last time I remember really talking about her in a live competition. But to see her finishing 3rd, but I know those
Yeah.
are 2 that we talked about coming in.
Yeah, and I think there's, I mean, you could probably talk to probably a handful of women here on the leaderboard that walked away feeling like they had a good win, like Mia Hesketh getting back in the individual side and performing well. Noor Bleeker, who from the Netherlands, she was actually the alternate on that No Shortcuts team. She, this was kind of like a big kind of rookie debut type individual performance, I think, on a bigger stage beyond just semifinals. And she obviously performed well and made it through to the cuts, which I think is a strong performance in this like international field. And even you go down the leaderboard to some athletes that got cuts, some of the team athletes that were going individual that we talked about, whether it was Kyra or Devin or even Ingrid, who made it above the cut and won an event. Ingrid, Kyra, and Devin all won an event this weekend. And so at some level, we're able to step up and lead the pack. For Kyra and Devin, I think the mistakes that they had and the poor performances on the leaderboard aren't necessarily indicative of something bigger. Kyra's came in the EMOM and the obstacle, which were very non-traditional formats, and having an EMOM in a competitive setting was very unique in that regard. And then Devin, I believe, bombed out on the clean and jerk. So it was like, that's a pretty, I don't want to say simple fix, but it's a very clear, like, this is where a mistake was made. It's not necessarily a general capacity thing. It's more of a strategy thing, especially that early in the competition. So I think there was plenty to hang your hat on for some of these athletes that finished pretty well, given their recent experience as individuals.
I got to shout out Ricky Garrard too. I mean, I'd put him in a big winner category, despite he has that terrible finish to start. But I mean, after that,
I mean, look at how many events did he beat Roman in throughout the weekend?
2. Let's see, event 5. He beat him in event 5. He beat him in event 6. He beat him in event 7, and he beat him in event 8. But 7 and 8 were just by one place, and only
he beat him in 5 of the 8 events.
Beat him pretty well, and
beat him in 5 of the 8 events. Is that what you said, Tommy?
5 of the 8 events, he beat him.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty notable. If he didn't have the one obstacle course, I mean, he would have arguably been on the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah,
so he would have been right there at least. Yeah, I mean, Lazar did great. He won 3 events. I thought he was incredibly consistent. Again, he's another person who's done very well at this competition. He's podiumed multiple times, and it was between Roman, Lazar, between the podium plus Braun, they took home all of the event wins this weekend. So very clear set of big bats hitting home runs.
And not to mention, Ricky had competed the weekend before, was down under the weekend before.
I think so. Yeah.
And I mean, you saw the contrast with him and Chandler Smith too, because Chandler competed and and didn't quite make the cut, and honestly looked like maybe wasn't as sharp as usual. So which is fine.
A big shout out to Big Braun, man.
Big Braun.
I know he had the event win. Yeah. But when you would expect in the strength event, but he finishes 9th overall. And for a guy that we've talked to Justin Kotler about him, trying to become a more well-rounded athlete, not just a guy who's known for slinging around a barbell, That's all we know. That's progress.
And that's coming off of, because I think he was in maybe the lead overall after day one.
Yes, he was.
And then he followed it up in day 2 with a second to last and a last in event 3 and 4, and then turned it back around again and had some strong finishes at the end. So you hope to see some improvement on the seesaw type stuff, but still, there might have been a day when those bad finishes happen, and then he falls outside the top 10 and gets cut.
Sure. I mean, not where he wants to be, but progress. And yeah, I know. I'm sure Justin. I'd love to get Justin's thoughts on him next time we talk to him. Just get a progress report there. Well, that was Dubai. Let's go to the other one that was going on. Now, Dubai was the only one that had a stream. The other two we're going to talk about didn't have any live streams. We had the Legends Championship going on. Just so many competitions there. And we can just run through the winners really fast. Men 35-39. Michael Pass wins that competition. For the women, it's Megan Markey. For the men in 40-44, Nick Aranda took that one. Women 40-44, it was Jamie Latimer. Men 45-49, friend of the show, Jason Grubb wins again. Just crushing it. Women 45-49, Amy Chapperton. Here, let me. I'll call up the leaderboard here so everybody can see what I'm talking about. If you're watching this, so we're on women 45-49, men 50-54. Corey Borline. Nice job, Corey. Women 50-54. It was Jen Dieter. All right, Jen, another friend of the show. Good job, Jen. Men 55-59. Chris Rowe. Women 55-59. Shanna Bunce. Love Shanna. Congratulations, Shanna. Men 60-64. Tony Tursky. He wins. Love that name.
I like that
women
said that.
Lynn Watt. Yeah, Tony Tursky. Bears. He just sounds like he should be on the Superman. Saturday Night Live. Men 65 plus, George Cope. And then women 65 plus, Denise Moore. So congratulations to everybody. And I'm really impressed with, and I love these guys, Bob Jennings and Joe Linton, who put on that competition. To be able to do that for that many people, that's a logistical Herculean effort right there to be able to pull that off. And every time you talk to people, and I've been lucky enough to go to that competition twice, they're all happy to be there. They all love the way it's run. And I think that the championship for CrossFit in the masters and age group categories, masters categories specifically, are in very good hands with these two.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the championship for CrossFit? Because I haven't seen anything on the CrossFit Games.
Well, I think that was, we talked about this last week with Wheelwad, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing. CrossFit didn't put out anything that maybe I'm wrong because I didn't spend a ton of time on Instagram this weekend.
I do.
Or social media in general, but I didn't see anything come across my feed on the CrossFit Games page.
Let me look.
From Legends. And I just don't understand.
I didn't see anything.
I'll just repost some stuff. Let people know what's going on. But big shout out to Bob Jennings and Joe Linton and the Legends crew for being able to pull off a great event, and give the masters that experience that they're looking for as they get into the 2024 season. Right? There's nothing there, right?
Legendary moment, but of Rich Froning from several years ago.
Yeah, it's just disappointing. I would have liked to have seen it. It's too bad, because that competition and those athletes deserve something. And what a better way to start building momentum for next year and what these competitions are going to be than to start really talking about them here in 2024. I mean, you just got to repost what they're doing. Just repost it.
To me, it's just a missed opportunity and a missed way to gain the fans and the spectators that you want to be helping support Legends when it is their CrossFit event. And I know that things always come down to dollar signs, but you could have sent, two people to shoot.
You didn't need to send anybody. Just repost some stuff.
Or that. Yeah.
Really, it's just, I guess it's one of the questions we asked when we we were wondering about when this announcement got made that they were going to spin these championships off into other competitions, is what the level of support was going to look like. And I know that's a next year problem.
But it's not. It starts now.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Both
Is
of
like,
these
why not start
competitions
now?
happened after they were announced, and what better way to gain the backing of the community and get the buy-in from the people who I don't want to say that they're feeling isolated by CrossFit's decision, because I think that most, at least the folks that we've talked to, feel like this is a good decision, but it's a good decision if it's done correctly. And being done correctly includes the media coverage and the storytelling. And they could have even contracted somebody on site. Like, I know a couple folks that were on the media team for Legends, and they were doing interviews with athletes. Like, why didn't CrossFit just contact them and say, hey, can you send that over to us and we'll give you credit and we'll post it on our page? I mean, that's easy.
Yeah, it's hopefully that improves for next year, because you're going to want, I mean, when it's your championship, you're going to need, it's going to
I
have
want
to
to give them the benefit of the doubt that it will be better when it is titled the games, but it is disheartening to see that there was nothing.
And I don't think it needed to be a lot. It could have just been a couple posts a day, like even just it was like a winner or some, I don't know. Congratulations to all the winners and list them in the
Even
post.
a still post, yeah, just a graphic that announced the winners, and
Okay.
On a brighter note, shout out Megan Marquis, who made a huge jump on the final event to take the overall lead, and is a fellow Santa Clara lacrosse
All
alumni.
right.
So,
Oh, congrats!
What's the Santa Clara mascot?
the Bronco, the fighting Broncos.
That's right, because there are just Broncos aplenty here in the Silicon Valley running around.
There are. So,
well, the other competition we wanted to talk about, and I want to spend a little more time on this one because Lauren, you were there, and it was the most unique one of the weekend. It was the FitFest, and it looked on social media, from what I saw you were providing, it looked like it was a lot of fun. It looked like it was well attended. And I love the format here. They had 3 teams of 6, and they had a draft to do it. And that's when I heard about that, I was like, oh, this is great, man! I can't wait to check this out. From your perspective, just give us your overall sort of impression of the event and what you thought some of the best parts about it were.
Yeah, I mean, this is truly, I think that the whole idea of doing this and doing it in the style that the event chose to do was, is this possible? Is this something that the athletes will get behind and actually enjoy? And how can we have proof of concept? And truly, I think they did all of those. I spoke with athletes obviously on camera, but I had a lot of side conversations too. And the temperature from the athletes was overwhelmingly positive. Just the way, when you think of these athletes, if they go to something like the CrossFit Games, and sure, there's going to be spectators and they're able to maybe sign a couple of autographs, say hello to fans. But this gave fans and spectators the opportunity to get that actual buy-in from the athletes. For example, they were having a lot of activations in between the events because they didn't need to go cool down. They didn't need to rest. They didn't need to worry about eating a ton because the volume was way more condensed than a typical competition. And especially on a team of 6, I mean, they're saying that their bodies mostly feel, the way it would on a normal training week. And those moments that they could have with the fans is giving them fans for life. And that's so good when you think of sales and sponsorship deals, because now that fan feels like they're connected to this athlete and they're going to be watching every single thing they post. Drives sales, boosts the economy and the ecosystem. And just for a longevity sense of these athletes being able to get in person more, because remember, when are athletes in Europe ever going to see American athletes compete? There's no major events that they would really come to as of this point. So this is just another opportunity for those spectators to see these athletes, and in a way that I mean, the athletes don't feel beat up. They were even able to talk to the programmers and event directors. It's so funny when you get Brent Fikowski anywhere, he's going to like be the leader and he's going to take the reins. And even in the athlete briefing, there was a clean ladder and the programmer was like, do these weights seem good? Like, are these correct? And of course, Brent's raising his hand and he's giving some feedback, and they were able to adjust the weights slightly, adjust the rep scheme, and just the way that flowed, it truly made it a showcase. It made it a spectacle that that the athletes can enjoy and feel like they're getting something out of it. But then us in the stands, we can be like, wow, look at these incredible athletes. Like, this is something really amazing.
Yeah, I think the key word is showcase, right? Like, what is a way for them to highlight their talents without necessarily being without necessarily the final result being such a high priority to where it's detrimental to the overall experience and as far as like exposure to new markets. Stuff like this happens in sports all the time, whether it's,
Mhm.
some of the big names going and doing a basketball tour overseas where they're, playing fun pickup games
Yeah.
or doing these like almost athlete showcases elsewhere. But I this has been a tough nut to crack for a long time in this sport, right? Because it's like it's blowing up in a lot of places outside of the United States, but a lot of the stars of the sport are inside the United States. So much so that
Mhm.
you have the biggest names in the sport moving to the United States because it's such an America centric um, sport geographically. And now you can have good reasons for, hey, like, let me go hang out and do some of these events where we're gonna have some fun. You're gonna get to see why I'm an amazing athlete, why you might be interested in me in the first place. But I'm also gonna have that time, like you said, to activate. The activations, like, athletes usually have to plan those multiple days in front or multiple days afterwards,
Or when they're not competing.
which if you're talking about ease of use, either extends their trip before or beyond in a way that maybe isn't always conducive to doing frequently.
Mhm.
But now they can bake that into the process early on, and you can maybe even take more of those trips now. Just because, a 3-day competition plus a couple days of rest on either side and travel, and then you want to go do a couple activations, that becomes a week and a half like that. And now if you know that a 4 or 5-day trip can stay that way and you can get both done, that's efficiency.
To me,
And
it's
it's
good for every it's good for everybody. I truly, and maybe somebody in the comments or either of you, let me know what is wrong with this concept, because it's good for the fans, it's good for the spectators, it's good for the ecosystem. And even when you look at it from an athlete perspective, yeah, it gets them more exposure. But also, these athletes, when I was speaking with them, they're like, yeah, we compete against each other, but we've never really had a conversation. They've just gained all of these new friends. You look at somebody like Lucy McGonigal, who's an up and coming athlete in the teen division, and she is on a team with some of her idols. And now, as she eventually transitions into the elite division, I mean, this is a group of like women. She won't necessarily be with the men, but a group of people that she can now feel more comfortable in. The transition into the elite individual category is going to be so much more seamless for her.
yeah.
Were there
I
any other
mean,
competitions going on or anything like, or
Oh,
was it just the team?
so the best way to explain what was happening is think of it on a smaller scale of the Arnold Classic.
Got
There
it.
there
Okay.
was weightlifting, there was
Okay.
British rowing, there was athletics. I mean, there was I want to say that I heard over the weekend there were between 8 and 10,000 spectators
Wow. Okay.
that
So
nice.
this was not okay. That's good to know.
it was so cool to see.
Mm.
And another benefit to that is you can organically get new fans as people just kind of walk
Sure.
around. Like, I did the same. Like, you go grab something to eat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Why are there 30 people on rowers right now for so long? Like, what are they doing? And it
Yeah.
just like it gets you exposed when maybe you wouldn't have been exposed to these sports otherwise.
Are they planning on doing this again next year? I mean, are they already talking about, hey, this is such a success that we want to do it, or what is?
Yes.
Okay, they are.
So my understanding is they are planning to do this again. And the great thing about their competition director, Mark, and he's been in the game for a long time because this is all through strength and depth, is he's really good about taking athlete feedback from the managers. I know he worked really closely with them because he wants this to be something that people come back to every year and that high level athletes bake into their off season, because this is something where the idea is that right now everybody wins. It's good for everybody. So how can we continue this and make it even better next year?
Yeah, I like that. And honestly, we don't say this enough, like fun, right? Like the aspect of just fun for a professional athlete and
Yeah.
someone in this sport. Even for someone like you mentioned, Lucy, who is,
Yeah.
we've seen some of the struggles of some of the young athletes that you get into this pro athlete track, and it can be kind of lonely sometimes. Even if you are in a camp, and just, I don't know, having these social having a social component to this, to me, just seems like obviously a cool idea, but on a deeper level, like something that could I don't know, feed the souls of these athletes to keep them healthy in a way that's beyond just, the surface level stuff.
I mean, it was so cool to see like Danielle Brandon and Ariel Lowen, who are normally competitors. And just speaking with Danielle, you know that she's still a
Yeah.
really intense competitor, and there's points on the line, but you see that like now that friendship is formed between them. You see Yella Hosta, BKG, like goofing around on the side, and it's just like, it sounds so corny, but I was standing back and watching just these genuine friendships developing. And to a lot of us who have grown up playing like team sports, whether it's soccer, basketball, you have that. And I imagine that CrossFit, the individual division, can be very lonely. And this is a way that bridges that gap. And I mean, I know Danielle Brandon even said, "Oh, after individual, I think maybe I want to go teams in the future."
Yeah, if they had 6-person teams, which I don't think they ever will. But I just think
how cool is
it's
that?
just what's cool about this. It's proof of concept for any sort of thing that if you want to kind of bring back the Invitational or something like the Invitational, I think this lays the groundwork, or at least gives you a good example of how you can do this over multiple days and not beat the athletes up, encourage more athletes who want to participate, make it fun with some kind of draft, and have some sort of all-star event that people understand is just a showcase or an exhibition, that there's nothing really riding on this, but they're still going to show up and watch their favorite athletes throw down. And in an environment like this where it is more fun, you get those more lighthearted moments between you get a little more trash talking. That is fun. It's not, it's not in the heat of competition. They're just ribbing each other a little bit. And I love the fact that despite this was a showcase, that Brent Fikowski still found a way to appeal.
Yes, I heard through the grapevine.
Of course, Fikowski's going to appeal something.
He was appealing some of his reps, I think, and it was like a version of Isabel. So, this is something that's also cool. Originally, they were going to have one of the events as 2 athletes, a male and a female, I think from each team, doing Isabel. And they were talking about what's like the coolest way to do it. Do you guys just want to like try to get your best Isabel time? Should you have to drop the bar, move it forward after 10 reps? Just like what's most exciting for spectators? And they ended up deciding that they would have almost all of the athletes from each team doing it, and each athlete would do 20 reps and then somebody else would come in. 20 reps, somebody else come in.
Cool.
So I heard that Fikowski appealed some of his reps. Points were still on the line, and that ultimately let his team finish second place overall because of Brent Fikowski's appeal, which like
there you go, Brent.
It's just like, if you know Brent, that is so Brent Fikowski. But it
Never
also
change.
was really
Never
cool.
change.
Like Emma Lawson was the team captain, but Brent Fikowski said, this is my favorite story. He is very organized. We all know that. I mean, he runs the PFAA. He must be organized. He sent all of the athletes on his team color specific outfits based on who their sponsors were. So he went like, if your sponsor was Tier, your sponsor was Noble, he picked out your outfit based on the colors.
So Brent is now team mom. Did he bring like juice boxes and orange slices too? And put the little banner up of the
man.
team behind the bench that he made at home. Or just, wow.
Man, when he eventually doesn't do CrossFit anymore, I hope that he's somebody's coach. I hope he does
That or
coaching
he's got to get in the media. That guy's got to get into a booth or on a
Or
desk.
the
All of the
organizational
above.
side of things.
Yes.
He could streamline a lot of shit organizationally, if we're being honest.
Absolutely. Like get that guy a job. 100%. I think he'd be fantastic at it. But I really like this event. I hope that they find a way to stream it later, and I understand why they didn't. And I think it's one of those things where it's like people wanted to see it, and I know there will be a group of people that would just put up an iPhone, fine, we'll watch anything. But to me, something like this that has this level of athlete, you want to do it justice. And I'm kind of glad they didn't try to do it in a way that you know what I mean. It's like here we just threw up a couple cameras and there it was. Like I know that I think the barbell spin guys tried to do something for a while and then there was anyway, but good on them. But yeah, I hope that's one I definitely watch. Like that seems like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I wish the best of luck moving forward. So
yeah, I mean that's a good point, Sean. If it's going to be a showcase and you want it to have a little bit of a spectacle aspect with it, make sure that the live stream once you eventually do it follows suit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
and I know that is their plan, but again, the priority this year was drive ticket sales, even the way that they were having the athletes on social media every night on camera saying, "Hey, here's a link, get the tickets," which I thought was also really cool to like incorporate the athletes into the marketing. What a great strategy, because there truly were fans that I even spoke to that said, "We drove 5 hours to see this athlete or that athlete because we've never been able to see them in person before."
That's
So
cool.
it just like it truly is proof of concept, and I hope we see more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also I was going to say when you're talking about Danielle Brandon when she was talking and how intense she was, like I was kind of shocked I was really shocked that she got a little like Danielle's got to improve her attitude on camera. Like what? Like she's competing. Like do you not know who she is? Like what? I really I shouldn't be because I know
No, but it's just like it's
I was like,
frustrating when people are in the comments and just like not being kind and talking to somebody who they've never met before. And I don't expect when I interview somebody to change their personality or change the mood just because the camera comes on. I would honestly be frustrated. Like, Sean, if I was interviewing you and I knew that you were a curmudgeon man who was just like grouchy all the time, and then all of a sudden you smile and are so like lovely on camera, I'd be like, well, what the heck? This isn't you. Like you're just turning it on for the camera.
So
I
keep on being that
appreciate
curmudgeon, Sean.
that's right. I was really shocked. Like, I thought Danielle, I mean, having interacted with her on a limited basis, like what you're going to get from certain Lauren, you know what you're going to get from certain athletes at a time. And you just I was really shocked that I don't know what did people want out of that. I thought she gave a decent interview. She asked the questions that were presented to her, and she wasn't. Anyway, I don't know. It's hard.
Not much surprises me online. I think Lauren's Wi-Fi in the bathroom went out. But
the perils of being on the road and trying to do a podcast. But she's traveling after this too. Like she's not even coming home. She's making another stop. So I'm not sure what happened to Lauren, but we'll maybe they pulled the plug on her or something.
Maybe the computer died. She didn't plug it in.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll wait a second here. But I think that just to sum up, really, really impressed with the event itself from what I saw on social media. Love the concept. Love the draft. Like that's something that when I found out that they did it, I went, how is this not blasted everywhere? I think Morning Chalk Up showed it.
Yeah. Let's
not 100% sure.
Incorporate a little old school schoolyard type.
So this is why I was in the bathroom before, but my computer died. So I had to get to a charger.
All right. Well, yeah, we're just summing up and saying that great event, concept, loved it, love the draft. Hope that looking forward to seeing what they do again next year. And CrossFit, if you're watching and you're paying attention, like this is something that I think you can look at to do. If I know that Dave Castro never wants to just go back to the old way of doing things. Like, let's just go back because that's the way it was. But if you are serious about maybe bringing an invitational like event back, I'd take a look at this and see how they did it, because I think there's a lot of good things that you can take from this. All right, any community support we want to get to before we get out of here?
Nothing that pops up for me, at least.
Okay. Guys, if you have some stuff, especially this time of year, please get it to us. We're happy to help out. PRs and no reps. We'll move on to that.
I got some for sure.
You got some? You see, like, I'm just gonna no rep NFL officiating. Yes, I really don't like to. I hate this because I'm not a blame the official guys, but it's just getting ridiculous week after week. There's just some stuff you see that's called or not called, and you're like, what?
Speaking of curmudgeon.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, it's like, it's the one against Kadarius Toney for lining up offsides. I mean, that was so blatant. You got to throw the flag. Like, he was practically in the defensive backfield before he got off the line. Like, you got to throw that flag. Like, it was so blatant, you have to throw it. And then in my game, there was a blatant missed block in the back that probably the guy makes the tackle on the punt that got. So it's just stuff like that. I don't know why that league can't at least, like, every week it's a story now, and I don't know how they get away from it, but that's my
it's fun. Yeah, it's funny while Lauren changes the mood lighting.
Yeah,
like she said,
I didn't realize I could do this so well.
The movie Blade.
I know, right?
But it is pretty crazy. I feel like this year, maybe we say this every year, but like the NFL officiating has come under some pretty intense scrutiny. Now, Kadarius Toney, that all-time knucklehead move, you
had to no rep that guy for just nowhere to line up, man.
That's day one. In the video even showing of how he checked to line up, he didn't even really check. Like, that's day one stuff. You find your alignment, peek to the ref, signal on or off, and he like looked and pointed, and even if the ref had corrected him, he wasn't looking to see. So he wouldn't have been able to take the correction, even if the line judge did, which normally they do. They'll let you know if you're over. But yeah, I mean, I almost like Kelsey deserves a PR for that quick thinking like that, though.
This is my favorite meme I saw. I love that one. Oh man, good stuff right there.
Oh, that's hilarious. But I mean, the penalties were all over the place in the Cowboys Eagles game. I mean, Micah Parsons gets held every single play.
Oh, same thing with Aaron Donald. Like, he's got 3. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, find a way. Like, get it right, guys. Like, I don't know if things are reviewable, but there's ways to do this. And I know you don't want to prolong the game and make starts and stops and all that, but there's got to be a way to get it right. So, Lauren, you got a no rep?
Honestly, I don't really have a no rep this week. I haven't been on here since the Tommy put his curse almost on me.
Oh no.
Okay. That's okay. It ended up being fine, but try being on an airplane really, really sweaty with like a 187 heart rate before you.
Oh, that's right. You almost missed your connection, but you made it. So that's
So I'm gonna no rep the Syracuse airport. Y'all know where we live. Y'all know lake effect. I know you guys are in touch with the best meteorologists, and the fact that it was snowing out and you didn't decide to de-ice the plane until an hour after we should have already taken off. So then you gave me 15 minutes, 15 to run all the way across the other side of the airport before a door was going to slam in my face and they were going to say, sorry, you cannot arrive to London on time because Syracuse doesn't know what they're doing.
You made it.
I did. And do you know when you're like in a hoodie and it's like a new hoodie and it's very soft and it feels very nice, but then you start sweating in it and what that feels like. And then I sat in that for 8 hours on a plane.
It's a unique balmy situation. Well, bad
the person next to you.
It was Lauren sous vide.
Yeah. Ew. It wasn't good. It wasn't good for anybody involved.
You got to know,
I,
your no rep.
my no rep is I'm gonna no rep Christmas car commercials.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
A humbug.
Chevy and Toyota, I get it. You want to feel good, but I don't need to cry during every NFL commercial break. The one with Chevy, where it's basically the plot of The Notebook, where Nana's coming back like
Oh, I haven't seen
from
that one.
I haven't seen this one either.
dementia, and the
No.
Toyota one. I mean, it's like married 50 years and forgot. Remember through Chevy, and then go buy a Silverado.
No.
It's like, I mean, you're sitting there like you're like bawling, and then it's like, buy a Suburban. It's heavy-handed.
Wow.
It's like the Sarah McLachlan like
Oh, I
dog
can't.
shelter.
Don't do that.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
I
can't
hear
watch
the song and I turn.
it. Yeah, I can't. I'm like,
Yep.
because you'll have
Yep.
all my money. All right, PRs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I got to think of one. I'm sure I got one.
I got a quick one, and I got a normal one.
All right.
PR to the Paulson family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We give them the horn.
Baby Kellen.
That's right.
Joining the family.
Got to meet him earlier today when we were recording Death By.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to PR White Elephant gifts. Because we went to a holiday party this weekend where White Elephant gifts were on the menu, and where else can you walk away with a beautiful stone cheese board and a set of throwing knives?
That's a W right there.
Let's just be fair. It was my wife who chose the throwing knives.
So do you remember that meeting we were in where someone sent Dave Castro like some throwing knives or stuff, and he was like playing with them while we were in the meeting? Like he wasn't throwing them, but he's like laying them out. I was like, check these out and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember
yeah.
I remember that. That was funny. Throwing knives.
It was it was someone was like, oh, like unwrapping, they're like throwing knives, and everyone's like, oh shit. And Tiff's eyes went like that.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, she's like, I'm gonna let those get stolen one more time, and then I'm gonna steal them so no one can take them.
There you go.
So
Oh my gosh, that's great.
She got throwing knives, and I got a nice all stone cheese board. But yeah.
Or in PR.
I am gonna PR Nando's. Have either of you been?
I've heard of it.
Oh my God. Why does the US not have Nando's? I am offended that they don't. This place, it's like Chipotle, but chicken. Is that a good way to explain it? Kind of, but a little bit nicer, I would say.
Mhm.
It's fast food, but nicer than fast food. And the chicken thighs at this place, I had it 5 times in 4 days. So twice in one day. This place. So I met up at the airport with Snorri and BKG, and we were getting an Uber, and they look at me and they're like, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "Do you know who you're traveling with?" "Yes, I'm hungry." And they're like, "Great. We have a place that we're going to go that we always go to when we come to Europe or when we come to the UK." And I was like, "Okay, great." Like, I know Snorri always eats at like delicious places. And we arrive, and I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, what is the hype? They're like, no, Nando's is amazing. And yes, my taste buds would agree. Right. Nando's is amazing.
All right.
Put that on the list. I don't know if I got a PR. I'll PR. I'll PR the 3 competitions this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they all did fantastic work in their own way, and respect the hell out of them for putting it on. I think there's some like getting back to the FitFest. I just think there's some really good stuff there that can be duplicated or at least borrowed from moving forward. And I'm hoping they're doing it again next year. And yeah, can't wait to see that. Yep. I think it's a lot of fun. So PR to them and everybody who made those competitions possible. Big PR to Bob Jennings and Joe Linton and their team at Legends, man. That many competitors, that many events over that. Good on you guys. Like there's some really good human beings that are putting that on. So
I should PR Mike McCarthy for getting his appendix out and then coming back 3 days later and hanging 30 plus on the Eagles defense.
Dang. I really thought Dallas was going to win that game too. It's going to be
we talked about it last week. I was like, I think Dallas is going to win, and I think it could get ugly because it's just the way they've been playing and the way they play at home. Like
it's going to be a fun few final weeks here in the old Nuffle season, the old NFL season.
Yeah, we're going up to Lauren's neck of the woods this week.
Yeah, well,
And
where are you going next, Lauren? Because you're traveling again, right? Like you're not even coming to the States.
No, from here I go to the UAE for Grove Games this weekend, and there's actually going to be a team. It's going to be Lazar and Luca, the Jukic brothers, on a team with Lena Richter and Karine Frey. So
nice. That'll be a good team.
So they'll be out there.
Being held again?
What was that?
Where is it being held again?
Ooh, it's about 2 hours east of Dubai.
Okay, so same location, more or less.
Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wasn't that where the Mayhem one was going to be held?
Like a Mayhem Desert Classic or something like that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's the one that I think that I'm not 100% sure, but that does sound familiar. All right, well that's going to be great. We're going to have
and Tia Claire Toomey will be out there doing some activation, so I'm sure we'll catch up with her a bit. We're
looking forward to it. And we're going to have Lazar on the show later this week.
Yep.
Tommy and Lauren are going to sit down with him, so we'll have that for you Friday. Death By's coming out this week too. We had a really good panel. James Hobart, Aaliyah Miller, Nikki Brazier, and Tim Paulson, who was doing the segment from the hospital room, which is great. And we're getting ready for our end of the year awards. We're going to be doing that later on, and plenty of good stuff to come as we barrel into 2024. And I mean, the Open is what, 2 months away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So better start training. All right.
Time to cut back on the Nando's chicken and start eating.
I feel great after Nando's chicken. It's not a cheap meal.
I will say that's what I've heard. I have not been able to have it. I know it's legendary. It's that
it's
South
African
chicken. Peri like grilled
fire chicken. Food is just better in Europe.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It's literally what I meal prep, but somebody else doing it, and it tastes way better.
There you go.
Yep.
Love that.
All right. Well, we also love Thirdzy, our sponsor for today. Please, Thirdzy.com, THIRDZY.com. Use the code TEF. The stuff is an absolute game changer. You will sleep better. You will feel better when you wake up. It is money well spent. Thirdzy.com. Get their PM recovery collagen, and it tastes fantastic too. It's a nice little way to end up to finish up your night. So, little glass of deliciousness. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching. Thanks again to Thirdzy for being our sponsor for today. For Tommy Marquez and the jet-setting Lauren Khalil, I'm Sean Woodlands. Take care of each other. Be better. We'll talk to you guys next time.